is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next 2 hours, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to explore some health topics and issues that touch each and every one of us. During the second hour, we'll take a look at the upcoming flu season and about a new test to see if you're going to need an antibiotic or if you just have to suffer through it. We'll also be talking about America's favorite pastime, sex. Yep, we're going to talk about sex for those of us who may be over the age of 40. All right, 45. All right, sex over the age of 50 and beyond. And we're going to start our show today with our friend Lisa Winston. She's got a great new book out. She was kind enough to ask me to write a little promo piece for it, and it's called Your Turning Point. So if you're at a point in your life where you need to change, you're kind of stuck in a rut, Your Turning Point, with a foreword, by the way, by Joe Vitale. I mean, from The Secret, and it just, he speaks all over the world. We're going to find out how to break free from a life of limitation and break through to a life of miracles. In fact, when you call Lisa, and I'm not going to give you her number, but when you call and she's not there, she says, open yourself to miracles today, something like that. Lisa is calling us from Texas. Hello, Lisa.
Mark Alyn, I love you. I want to talk about sex over 50.
All right, we can. Yeah. We'll start with that.
All right.
Getting any lately?
Well, let's just say I'm a happy camper. Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes. How are you? And thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to share about my book today with you and your audience.
Well, we talked numerous times here on the show, and let me give a little background. Lisa is an entertainer. She sings. Do you dance, too?
I don't.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Me neither. I don't sing either. Every now and then I start to, and I get mad.
They get the cane, right?
Yeah, I get the cane from Daryl. She's a talk show host with Robert Clancy on the Mindset Reset TV show, and does a lot of stuff. She's a speaker and more. What's the genesis of the book? Not why you wrote it. What made you say, there's a turning point in my life?
Oh, well, gosh, that's a great question, and there were so many of them. But what really happened to me in the last year and a half, 2 years, it became clear that I didn't have a book before because I actually had to go through the experience of getting to that, getting through those turning points and getting to that miracle space, and then looking back and going, my God, this is a life navigation guide for people who really want to get where they, are destined to go. So for me, it was like I just had to share it with the world because I had such a profound experience, my story of suffering for most of my life. And I'm totally in a different space now. So that's it. Anybody can do it. If I could do it, you could do it too. And I want to share how to do that, how to get to that miracle space and break out of all that other suffering.
A lot of people believe that suffering is just part of life and we're supposed to suffer.
Well, yeah, I'm here to say yes and no is what I'm going to say, because suffering is a tool, it can propel you in a different direction, and it is part of life, Mark. You already know that. I mean, stuff happens, right? And we deal with it and we suffer, but you don't have to stay there. That's the thing. You have different choices. So people can make a different choice and have a different result.
A couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I was at a service, and the clergy, the rabbi, said, he was talking about the fires here in Southern California and certainly in Northern California. We had a massive shooting in Ventura County. It just hasn't been a great 2 weeks. And his point was, we have to have bad so we understand good. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like the yin and yang, right? I mean, you can't have positive energy without negative energy. Everything balances itself out. And again, Mark, I have to tell you, the quote-unquote suffering that I went through for all these years. I'm a teacher, so I'm really here to share this news with other people. But unless you suffer, you don't grow. You really don't. If you hope for a life of, like, constant peace and all that, that's great. But really and truly for me, going through those moments, the breast cancer, the wildfire, all that stuff that we've talked about before, really helped me to grow stronger. And, I gained more insights, and I became stronger and connected to my intuition and all that. So, I mean, it's really an opportunity to grow.
I'm thinking of some young people, Jim Morrison, Daryl, jump in with other, Janis Joplin.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
They're all 27.
Right. All 27?
Yeah.
Right? And they skyrocketed almost overnight into fame and fortune.
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze, comedian.
Wasn't it Amy Winehouse, too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't she part of that group?
Yeah. And as self-destructive as every other one of them, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And my point is that having that instant success, if you will, even though they all work very hard to achieve it, you're suggesting that had they suffered a little bit, maybe they would have lived longer?
Well, that's, I think everybody has a destiny also. We all have a time, we all have a space, and I really believe a lot of those people were very deep, soulful thinkers, and I think that they were here for a time and for a reason. A lot of times, we just don't see the big picture. That's the thing. We have a lot of questions, but in reality, we don't really have answers for everything because we don't really know. I just believe that they gifted us with their talents, and they went through their suffering. And the thing is, again, everybody has a time and a space, but for me, I almost took myself out a couple of times because of the abuse and all the other stuff that I went through. I could have put a gun to my head. I almost did one time, years ago when I was suffering terribly through a divorce, a messy divorce, but I didn't choose to do it. And because I knew there was a greater reason for me to be here. So the whole point is that you can suffer without taking yourself out, and you can actually turn that around. It's a shift in perception.
I guess, the Lord, God, whoever works in mysterious ways, so that it's like seeing the title of a book, but not being able to read the pages.
Oh boy, that's profound. Yeah. Well, you have to be ready. I mean, how many things have we done? And then we come back around to it, 10, 20, 30 years later and go, geez, I knew that, I saw that, but I wasn't ready to receive it. So again, you have to grow into more to be able to hold more. And that's a profound insight.
You've coined a term, turning point.
Oh yeah.
I think of Turning Point as that ballet movie because it is a dance or ballet term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you come up with that, and what is a turning point?
Well, Joe and I talked about it a lot. There are turning points. I explained it in the book, and that is there's not like one it's explained in the book again. There are some big, profound turning points that actually shift you in the direction faster that you're supposed to go. But turning points can be small and large moments, events, experiences, aha moments, insights, and decisions, right? Because all those things that we do lead us to our next best step, or they lead us back into suffering so we can grow a little more, and then we have another turning point that leads us into our next big step. I think I shared with you, again, the fire and the breast cancer.
Sure.
That was a huge turning point in my life. Making this decision to leave a 15-year relationship after that was another huge turning point. When I met Joe and I interviewed him on my summit, and we developed a very deep, loving, soulful relationship. That was almost 2 years ago. That was a huge turning point. But I made decisions to say yes to those things, and I grew from them, and they moved me forward.
But there are people who suffer all their lives. There are no turning points. Or are there turning points that they just don't see?
Yes. See, this is why I want to get into my book, and I hope you ask me, what are the most important things about, how you can get to a place where you see those? Because everybody has them. It could be, Mark, it could be a decision, right? It could be an insight you get it's a choice. It doesn't have to be like a giant traumatic. I mean, for me, I needed the universal 2x4, clearly, at one point in my life. But I mean, turning points can come as small moments and small insights as well. So, yes, we have to be aware, though.
I mean, it's like I was in the shower this morning, decided to go from one cable provider to another. That's not what you're talking about.
Well, you never know.
You never know. It
never know. Right?
It is true. Listen.
I mean, I have to. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to share something funny. Even the fact that right before the fires, we had different insurance for our house, and 3 months previous to prior to the fire, we actually changed to a different provider. And because of that, we ended up as poster children on their, magazine for years. We did a commercial, an infomercial. We were covered right away. So that decision was a turning point and led us in a different direction. We could have had a much different outcome. So
we're out of time for this segment. We've got a couple more times together today. We're focusing on Lisa Winston and her brand new book, Your Turning Point. It isn't even out yet, and in pre-sales, it's already an international bestseller. Go to Amazon.com and look up Your Turning Point. It's a great book. You're going to enjoy it. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne at the controls. We will be back as Late Night Health continues. Be sure to join us at LateNightHealth.com.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. Hope is one of those words that has no synonyms. It just simply is, and it's something that you'll have in your life as long as you want it. You can only lose hope when you choose to let go of it. So why let go? Each day of your life is a blank canvas, and you will always have a choice on how you paint it. It takes courage to take a journey of hope, but it's up to you to take that first step. And it's always accomplished by taking one step at a time. Hope is the greatest beacon you have to help you find your way out of the shadows of darkness, back to the light of a new day.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit GuideToTheSoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on LateNightHealth.com.
The stigma around mental health disorders and suicide is still very strong in our culture. It's an uncomfortable topic for many of us, and yet it's something we can't afford to ignore, according to Dan Shuck, the author of A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups. Last month, the CDC released a study that reports suicide rates went up more than 30% in half the states since 1999. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, takes a new approach to addressing mental illness. The book playfully explores pessimism versus optimism to find balance, manage stress, and enjoy life. The book uses humor to provide an opportunity to determine the fullness of our own glass and how to apply it to our daily lives. Donations from the proceeds of the book will be made to a Glass Half Question fundraising campaign for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. A Glass Half Empty or Half Full, a children's book for grown-ups, is available from Amazon.com, Kindle, and Barnes & Noble. For more information, visit www.glasshalfquestion.com.